Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking and subscribing the channel is free and easy, and it helps me out a lot. If you want to go a little farther with your support, I have Patreon and YouTube membership available, which includes access to the BoshNRoll Discord server, early access to things I'm working on, sideboard plans, cards I'm buying. You could have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use the YouTube membership option, you get sweet, unique YouTube badges and emotes for the channel. If you want to play what I'm playing, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support my channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com. And if you're playing on Magic Online, a cardhoarder.com loan account can let you play any deck anytime. If you want to wear your support, there is BoshNRoll merch available. All of these links are in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is a list from Patreon subscriber Hunter, and Hunter has once again sent me Bug Loam. This is a deck that I know Hunter has been working on basically since Oko was banned. I've played it for him a few times on the channel before, and the list keeps iterating. This was the front runner when Oko was banned. Like, Uro was still legal and Field of the Dead was getting a lot of love in Legacy, and a lot of people were trying bug stuff early on, and it just sort of got invalidated by Bant when Endurance got printed and stuff like that. So this deck once held the crown, doesn't quite have it anymore, but it is still a deck you can play. And having just said Endurance out loud, I'm realizing there are none in this deck, and wondering if that is a problem, or if this is not an Endurance deck. And I think it's okay if it's not. It's just something I was thinking about. But when Hunter sent me the list, before I even opened the file, I was like, yeah, I'm going to add Dress Down to this deck. And Hunter already had one, but I added a second. Hunter had Force of Negation on top of the 4 Force of Wills in the main, and I think that this deck, with its Abrupt Decays, Thoughtseizes, Lilianas, etc., doesn't want a 5th Force in the main deck. Like, I think that the Thoughtseizes check that box in a way that is good enough. Like, Bant doesn't get to play Thoughtseize, which is why you want 5 or 6 forces. But Thoughtseize, Ravenscrime, Liliana, there's other means of disruption. There's a lot of good answers to resolved permanence. So I don't want another 1 for 2 in my main deck. I'll bring it in out of the sideboard if I need it. That's the only change I made. The 2 Wastelands don't seem like very many. I would think this deck wants more of that going on, but if you're supporting Field of the Dead, you have to spread out your lands, like the names of your lands, pretty wide. So it's probably fine. I will trust Hunter's judgment on all of those things. I'm pretty excited to play with 3 Plague Engineer in a deck. Black has sort of fallen off in Legacy as Bant rises to the top and Jeskai rises to the top. The top tier of Legacy right now is It Delver, Bant Control, and Jeskai Standstill. And like, those are the 3 decks, and Black is nowhere in that rock, paper, scissors. So getting Plague Engineer back in the deck, 3 copies. I've missed that card. I'm excited to play with it. Hope it comes in clutch. Outside of that, this is Bug Loam. Light from the Loam's here. We got Wasteland. We got Field of the Dead. We got Uro, which is a great combo with Loam because you can dredge the Uro and then just escape it right away. Or if you have it on the front half, Light from the Loam helps you hit your land drops off of Uro. And it's just a good party all around. I like the 2 Dress Downs. In addition to just being a good tool in Legacy in general against anybody playing creatures, there's also a chance to cheese out some early Uros. Excited for that. And we have the classic sideboard 2 crop rotation with Karakas Bojuka Bog combo. This gives you this 4-card package gives you so many lines against so many different decks, and I'm glad to see that it made the package here. So Hunter, this is your Bug Loam deck. Let's get into it. I'm on the play in the first round. I have a Ponder. It's not off Basic Island, so I don't get to meme on it, but I do get to cast Ponder, and then Sylvan Libraries following it up. Force of Will can pitch Uro if it has to. Not excited about that, obviously, but it's nice to have Force of Will in an opener. I'm just going to Ponder. I'm looking for land drops, trying to get my Uro under me. There we go. How do I want to stack this? I could put Brainstorm in my hand as a second. Okay, I think I want to put Brainstorm in my hand as a second blue card for Force if I want to keep my Uro. I can draw the Wasteland because maybe I just want to fire off Wasteland, and if I don't, I can cast Sylvan Library. And if they had Wasteland for my trop, then I wouldn't have 2 mana anyway, so having the Forest on top of my deck, I'll draw it when I need it next turn. So put an opponent to the test right now. Let's see if they have a daze for this thing. Ooh, Underground Sea. We're playing against Doomsday. I say that all the time, and people always make fun of me, but like I said in the deck tech, black has fallen off as a playable card, or playable color in Legacy. If I see Underground Sea, I'm assuming my opponent's on Doomsday. I'm going to Uro and make the land drop with Wasteland and then waste them. They dazed me into an Uro on the draw. Now they're behind 3 lands to my, or 0 lands to my 3. Gotta figure out how to win this game. It's not done yet. I can just play Plague Engineer, name Bird in case they have Baleful Strix, or I can Brainstorm and try to move this game forward. I think I like the Brainstorm, because I'm probably not going to need Abrupt Decay in this matchup. I can put back the Bayou and an Abrupt Decay, and then I can Uro next turn, and I have Force right now. I'm just going to Plague Engineer on Bird. I have Force. It gets dazed if they have their combo, but if they don't, I get Uro next turn. And it's possible that it's just right to let the Doomsday resolve and fight over the Doomsday after the Force, which always makes me nervous, but I think that is the correct way to play against Doomsday. Thoughtseize is pretty much the best draw in my deck. If I can see their hand, know what they're working with, I can know where I have to attack them with the Force of Will. Doomsday is so good. I really wish I had the time and brain power to master this deck. I think that somebody who really puts their work into Doomsday, just a master Doomsday pilot, I think would do really well in any open field. The average Legacy player does not know how to play against this. It's basically a Magic Online only deck, because the amount of time you had to spend thinking about Doomsday piles before Thassa's Oracle was printed was just not conducive with live play. And the world shut down for COVID, like right after Thassa's Oracle was printed. Theros Beyond Death was the last set before we all went into our houses for a year and a half. And there just hasn't been a live Legacy event with Doomsday as part of the metagame yet. And I think whoever shows up with that deck and really knows how to play it is going to do a great job. All that said, I really hope I draw Thoughtseize on my turn. 9, Wraith. Okay, they're moving right now. Boo. They drew Thoughtseize. Well, they put it there. They knew it was there. So now I need a blue card to go with my Force, bare minimum. Alright, that box is checked. I'm going to fetch Bayou and play my Uro. Green, or nope, those have to be blue. Blue, blue, green, green. Come on, Thoughtseize. I'll still take Thoughtseize. I'll even take Raven's Crime at this point. Alright. Well, one of us is dead right now. They cast their Thoughtseize. They took a Force of Will. They know about the second one, so they know any blue card I drew is good enough. And I just need to buy 1 turn. Like, I don't need to stop the Oracle, I just need to stop them from putting Oracle on the stack. So if they go for the Ideas Unbound, I'm just firing off my Force on that. Okay, that's not the play. So they would ponder into... I'm going for it right here. I don't want them to be able to cast Oracle off of Cavern. Yeah, just stopping their setup is what I need to do, because their Doomsday pile's not going to let me stop their payoff. Okay, Doomsday. Force of Negation, Flusterstorm. I like Surgical because I also have discard spells. Like, it's possible to mess up their hand and then mess up their ability to win the game. Dress Down, phenomenal in this matchup. Glad that's there. I'm going to cut all my Abrupt Decays and probably replace them with Assassin's Trophy. Being able to destroy a land and force them to shuffle their deck after a Doomsday could be game-breaking. It can mess up their pile, and if they didn't put lands in the pile, then they're just down mana straight up. Plague Engineer, even though it did show up, in that matchup is not actually good here during that game. And I think I can cut a Loam too. That's not really what this matchup is about. I cut all this stuff. I could bring in the carpets. I'm not convinced that's really important or how this game is going to be played though. Like, I don't think we're going to get into a grind fest. I think that they're going to go pretty quick and they can play off basic swamps, or like a basic swamp at least. And they probably would want to anyway because they've seen Wasteland. Yeah, I'm not going to bring in the carpets. Alright, I have Force of Will. I'll keep. I wish my Force was backed up by anything else like Thoughtseize or whatever, but I do not have nothing, which is important. They did not shuffle their Ponder. Land go out of me. Could test them with a Sylvan Library again next turn. I'm not ready to force a Brainstorm. If I had Flusterstorm, I'd probably use it there, but not ready to commit to that life. Brainstorm, shuffle, Dark Ritual time, Thoughtseize time. Alright, so they're going to take my Force of Will. Unless this game's going to get grindy, then they take Sylvan Library, but I have Strix and Uro to work up the grindy chain. They got to take Force of Will here, I think. Let's draw another one. Not quite. I'm going to go for the Sylvan Library, and if I lose, I lose. But if I don't lose, that gives me the best chance to dig back into this game. And if they daze it, that's fewer resources they have going into this combo turn. Okay, they thought about that for a second, and what I think they were considering was, is it better to daze this card selection or to have daze to protect from the selected cards later? And they know my hand is bad, so I think answering that right there was the correct call. Defense Grid's kind of an interesting one. Really interested in finding a Wasteland at this point. Gonna Uro. Please draw Wasteland. If I can Loam Wasteland, get that going, there might be a chance still in this game. Don't think I Brainstorm right now. I don't have a land drop to make. Not really a reason to do that. If they have the whole combo right now, obviously they win, because that's how Defense Grid works. But if they have to pass the turn, I get a chance to find Dress Down. And I can Dress Down in my end step, and then Dress Down is in play for their turn, and that's a way to work around Defense Grid. I think I should Brainstorm in... Oh, nope, can't, because of Defense Grid. I was just going to say I should Brainstorm in their end step, but literally can't. The Brainstorm will give me a lot of selection. If I can find Thoughtseize, that could help. Dress Down is not game ending, but it is Time Walk. Gets me through to another turn. If I find Wasteland, like if I find like Thoughtseize and Wasteland off the Brainstorm, that's probably one of the better spreads I could ask for. But all of it's pretty bad. My window to really get under this game was last turn, and now they're resolving Doomsday. Doomsday has resolved. We're going to my turn. And time to Brainstorm. Brainstorm, save me. Force of Will. Alright, well, I can force them, which isn't the best thing, but it's not nothing either. If they set up a Thoughtseize into... Alright, I don't think Loam is going to be good here, and I don't think I need this Prismatic Vista either. So I can fetch, cast Ponder, and still hold up Force of Will. Trophy, huh? Is Trophy good? Trophy hitting Defense Grid unlocks my instants and shuffles their deck, which is a pretty big deal. Both of those are big deals, actually. Okay, I'm actually in for this. You can't decline to search with Trophy, so this does force a shuffle. It might have made their pile weird enough that I have a chance, but it also just totally might not. This puts their whole deck in their hand. So anything they could have, they will have. They resolve this Brainstorm. If they have Red Blast or Flusterstorm, they just get me anyway. Okay. If they have Lotus Petal Cavern, they win here. Badlands not making blue does slow them down a little. Duress does not work. My top card is Jace, and I don't believe that's helpful here. So I'm gonna fetch my Triome and just have perfect mana going into this final turn. Come on, dress down. Flusterstorm is not great. I can Snapcaster Ponder. Yeah, I think, because Oracle is a creature spell, so Flusterstorm has missed its chance to be particularly good here. I'm gonna Ponder out of my graveyard. Oh, maybe I should have Assassin's Trophy it out of the graveyard. I think I missed a chance here. If I trophy out of the graveyard, hit the Underground Sea. I found a trophy, but now it's too late. I think I just passed the turn here and hope that I am not dead somehow, but I definitely am. I guess I could fluster this. They can pay for it, but then they can't play their Oracle. One card left in their hand. Forest. Attack. Strix. Black. Blue. Good. Black. Blue. Come on, dress down. And we're gonna lose like that. I think if I Snapcaster Mage Assassin Trophy and destroy Underground Sea, I win this game. Yep. Damn. Yeah, I had an opportunity there and missed it. I just didn't think about it until it was just a little too late. Because the Brainstorm resolved and they didn't win the game on the spot, it was pretty clear they didn't have another blue source in their pile. I messed that one up, for sure. Does anything change? I don't believe it does. Yeah, same deck, let's go. Close call. I'm gonna keep this hand. Unfortunately, my discard spell is Raven's Crime and not Thoughtseize. But Raven's Crime is still disruptive. I can Crime, get a 1-for-1 on my way up to Sylvan Library. I have the Dress Down, I have the Surgical. This hand is pretty good. Discarding Pyroblast, okay. Passing the turn. Let's see if they daze Sylvan Library for the third game in a row. I think I should go for Library. I could have held up Flusterstorm, fluster their Doomsday, extract the Doomsday, but I'm in a tap out kind of mood here. I want to get set up. Ooh, the Cavern is not a land that they want this early. That's just not very good. It doesn't cast any of their spells other than Thassa's Oracle. Alright, Defense Grid's pretty good. Okay, it casts one spell. Thoughtseize, thank you. If I pay 8, I end up paying 10 because I'm casting Thoughtseize as well. And I think that's all worth doing. Just show me a Doomsday. Let's get it out of your deck. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna Ponder and shuffle this up. And then I'm gonna get Underground Sea and exile their Doomsdays. Boop, bop, beep. Nice handful of counter magic. And they packed it up. So I messed up game 2, but won games 1 and 3. That counts as a match win. On to the next round. On the play in the second round, we're playing against a Yorion deck. The most common Yorion deck these days is Death and Taxes, and this hand isn't great against DNT. I am still going to keep it though. You know, I have Thoughtseize, and then Dress Down is also lines up pretty well. Against this 80 card deck, at least knowing whether they're DNT or like Alurin is a pretty good deal. And being able to check their hand off Basic Swamp is pretty dope. DNT confirmed. 2 Skyclave Apparitions and 4 lands. No respect at all. You keep this hand against me? It's gonna be alright, I guess. My deck has 5 basics in it though, which is obviously a lot. That Wasteland should not really find a target. And if they draw a Stoneforge Mystic or similar, Dress Down can check it, turn it off. There's a real magic card. Do I wait until 6 mana on this Jace, or do I Force of Will the Apparition? Okay, well, I already have Basic Swamp in play, so I'm gonna get Basic Island and cast Dress Down here. We'll see what happens. The cantrip, oh, drawing the Force of Will is insane there. Now I get to deploy Jace and still have protection from the Apparition. Okay, so get a Forest and an Island, cast Jace, and I think I want to start brainstorming. If they have Cauldra just in hand, I'm dead anyway, but being able to Force of Will the Skyclave Apparition, I know their hand, 2 of their cards in hand are Wasteland, Skyclave Apparition. Just gotta hope they don't activate Stoneforge Mystic and put Cauldra into play right now. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna force Pitching Force because the rest of my cards are all card advantage or selection. I get to recoup a lot of what I just lost by casting the Force. Baleful Strix, historically pretty good against Death and Taxes. Blue-black Strix first. There's Strix. Here is my land for the turn. I can Brainstorm first, or I can Uro first. I think I'm going to Brainstorm with Jace first. Okay. Having all of these additional counter spells is pretty nice. Field of the Dead is a long way off from being on or helpful. I could just not Uro for a turn and leave out my counter spells. I think I'm going to get rid of Field of the Dead and one of the Uros, and then just play the other one. I have to get a non-basic at this point. I have blue-blue, I'll get green-green set up. Then I can waste their waste. Life from the Loam is great. Happy to see that against the non-blue Wasteland decks. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good here. Spirit of the Labyrinth. My hand and my entire game plan here seems to resolve entirely around drawing cards, so maybe this should get countered. I think that makes some sense. If they have a follow-up play and this was a bait spell, then their hand is just insane anyway. That seems unlikely, because what's better than that? I'm gonna Uro first. Ooh, I could actually Loam first. And then Uro's guaranteed to deploy an extra land. Okay, I'm gonna Brainstorm with Jace. No, I Loam first. 1, 2, 3. Just gotta make sure there's still enough cards in there for Uro to come back with. Green. Here's Uro. Uro draws a card. I don't think I want to Dredge Loam here. Should have Dredged Loam here. Surprise. Put a fetch land into play, and then Jace can Brainstorm now, and I have the fetch land in play. Those two back. Fetch. Now I can cast Ponder. Liliana of the Veil. Yeah, this is a pretty good spread against Death and Taxes. I'm going to start attacking. Gotta win this game somehow. I'm even set up against Kaldra at this point. Recruiter's pretty good. Are they going to get an Apparition and try to set up a 2-turn line to remove Jace? Or are they going to get Stoneforge Mystic or Spirit of the Labyrinth now? Could get Flicker Wisp to try to do stuff next turn. We'll see. Alright, they did get Spirit right now. But I'm ready for it this time. Gonna Abrupt Decay, Spirit, take that out, and then get to attack with Uro. See what they want to do with that. Hope they block. They didn't block. Okay. Smart. Brainstorm with Jace. I'm not going to Dredge Loam. Okay. I don't need Sylvan Library, which is a fun thing to say. And if I put back Raven's Crime. Yeah, I think I just want to crime them this turn. And then I can draw... Yeah, because I don't have triple black to Liliana and crime them. Let's just get their hand empty. What have you been slow rolling over there? Mother of Runes, yeah, that one's not very good at this point. I'm holding up Decay. They're in top deck mode. Among the best possible. I think I need to Abrupt Decay the other Stoneforge Mystic in response to this one, because then they could just put Kaldra into play. So they'll have to search for something here that does not die to Raven's Crime. Like if they get Batterskull or Kaldra, they just lose it to Raven's Crime. If they get Sword or Jetay, they can cast it before that point. They did get the Sword. Good call. Is it time to Dredge Loam? No, I still just want spells here. Zagoth Triumph, that's the sort of thing that gets the Loam really going. I'm gonna Brainstorm with Jace, or do I cycle Triumph first? I think I can cycle Triumph first. Cycle Triumph. I will Dredge Loam this time. Dredge Loam. Triome, polluted delta back into my hand. Now the Jace has a ton of material to shuffle away. I can put back 2 of these fetch lands, play another one. I think I'm out of fetchables, actually. Yep, that was just a shuffle. Jace could have unsummoned one of these creatures, but I don't even really want to do that, because they're both really good. They might connect with this sword. I guess Brainstorm is my last chance to not get hit by a sword this turn, and it's a pretty good chance, I guess. Alright, didn't get there. Field of the Dead is nice. Probably should have Brainstormed before I attacked. His field can block sword, but I lose Jace along the way. Alright, I mean, I think I could have played this turn in a way that doesn't let sword connect, but I also think I'm okay here. I have Force of Will for whatever they draw. They get a second draw, they get to kill Jace. Rashad Port is not what the doctor ordered here. And then Field of the Dead will lock this game up. Really gotta watch for my clock. I always forget how long it takes for Life from the Loam to resolve. Or how, like, the targeting and then having to click around every draw step, whether you want to Loam or not. It takes forever. And it's pretty cool that because of Liliana and Ravenscrime, whatever they draw just has to get cast. They don't get to put Yorion in their hand. They don't get to save something for next turn, because it will be gone, I promise. They're also dead on board. I have 7 points of attack to their 7 life points. Okay, they don't believe me that's not a good play. I think they're just dead anyway. They would have had to draw exactly Swords to Plowshares, or I guess Solitude, if they just wished for the Yorion. Okay, now you're dead. Yeah, they had Plow, but they're at 7, and I'm attacking for 7. In come the Plague Engineers. Love those guys. And Liliana, the Last Hope, comes in. Assassin's Trophy, I believe, is pretty good. I don't want to ramp them too much, but I do think that's worth having in the deck. Ravenscrime is actually not very good. I think Thoughtseize is fine, though. I want some number of Force of Wills. In case they have Graveyard Hate, I want to take it easy on Life from the Loam. And I could shave an Uro for the same reason. I mean, Uro's so good, but if they have a bunch of Graveyard Hate or just a Caracas, Uro's stock goes way down. And I think this is a pretty clean sideboard. Just shave some of the things that aren't that great, bring in things that are all great. Oh, this is so dangerous. I'm going to keep it, though. Dress Down's a good card. Brainstorm's a good card. Liliana's solid. If they have a Wasteland, that's a shame. They have a Wasteland. They must have Vile, or else they wouldn't have kept a Wasteland hand like that. Okay, so they did everything I didn't want them to do. But I did draw a basic land. That goes a long way here. Or a land that can be basic. Caracas. I can hit that with Wasteland. Sure, there's your Thalia. I think that wasting their Caracas is the play here. Death and Taxes for a mono white deck does weirdly have color problems from time to time. Doesn't seem like they're going to have them this game, though. And now they have a Vile on 2, which is terrifying because they play so many. Spirit of the Labs. David Bowie. Dance Magic Dance. The Spirit of the Labyrinth. Shout out to Rich Shea on that one. Probably 3 people on the entire earth who get that joke, and Rich is one of them. I can brainstorm. I can't brainstorm. No, I can't. I lied. Because if I pass priority, they waste me, then I brainstorm in response, then they violin their idiot, and the game is over. I'm going to play the Strix. If they have the Spirit, they have the Spirit, but at least this doesn't also mind rot me. I'm so surprised. Okay, don't get to draw a card. They do get to Wasteland me. If Wasteland is what they want to be doing right now. Okay. Wastelanding on my turn doesn't make any sense. Like, get to your turn, draw your card, see if you're going to need that mana, and then you can waste me all the same. but they just committed to this thing basically for no reason. These Strix can interact with Spirit of the Lab in combat, so I'm extremely interested in just drawing lands at this point. Alright. Always had it. I can't cast any of the spells in my hand right now. I can literally cast Brainstorm, but it's a bad idea. And I have a bunch of basics in my deck, so I'm not really worried about Field of Ruin. I am worried about that. Like, this getting Cauldron when I'm in this present predicament. If I could have dressed down in response, that's great. But obviously I cannot. And I'm going to die pretty quick to Cauldron here. This was just a classic play draw versus Death and Taxes. I hope they don't have exactly Wasteland and Aether Vial. Then they had Wasteland and Aether Vial. If they have Wasteland or Aether Vial, I'm fine here. But they had both, of course. And then Thalia, and they always just pinch you just enough. Classic D&T. I'm on a 3-turn clock right now. Yeah, there's no blocks worth making here. Cauldron's indestructible, and Thalia has first strike. Cauldron also has first strike, by the way. I'm pretty interested in drawing land here, I guess. Just always land is the answer. Oh god. What's this shit? Vial on 3, right in my upkeep. Sanctum Prelate. Probably name 2 here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it looks like my opponent just did everything right, and I'm not going to win the game. Guess I can still Uro and gain 3 life. Don't get to draw a card, though, unfortunately. Is 10 life any different than 7 life? I have not counted. Yep. Classic, perfect D&T curve. Just 80 card deck, but it looks like it's a 10 card deck because they always have exactly what they want. If they want to put lethal into the red zone this turn, they have to attack with Spirit of Labyrinth and Sanctum Prelate. Either of which, if they trade with, is a mistake. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think I want to block 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's actually a forced block on Spirit of the Labyrinth, and I go to 1. Which is not going to matter. Like, clearly they know that they're good at this point. Oh wait, did I count wrong? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh no, it was a... Yeah, I was just miscounting. They had a lethal attack either way. Good attack. Does anything change here? I could bring in my Caracas just as an additional land. It does have the bonus text against Thalia that it keeps her off my back, but it just being an additional land that can be drawn is worth a bit in this matchup. Kind of like Thoughtseize on the play. I probably shouldn't have liked it on the draw, but it was there. Loam is great for the matchup. Dress Down does a lot. I think, as much as I like the Caracas, there's just not room for it. I guess like Sylvan Library would be the thing that I cut, because they do play the max Spirit of the Labyrinth, and my life total matters a lot in the matchup, so yeah, maybe I'm off Sylvan Library for that reason. Okay. Here's my new deck. I'm on the play, 2 lands, Loam, Ponder. This is insane. Basic land, Ponder. Keep it. Buy a shirt. BoshNRoll merch. Island Ponder Keep shirts are available. I am going to use the Misty Rainforest to get this started. I guess I should have used the Polluted Delta because Misty can get basic forest for the Loam to get going. Probably just makes more sense. Do I want this Wasteland? Do I want the Snapcaster Rage that comes with it? I think I just want to shuffle this. I didn't really want all of those cards. Like, the only reason I would have wanted Wasteland was to hit my 3rd land drop on Plague Engineer, but Life from Loam's already doing that. There's the Vial. Again, 80 card deck. Still have their best 4 out in hand. Classic. I'm going to get a basic forest here and cast Life from the Loam. I do understand that that means I don't get to cast Liliana next turn, but I don't need to cast Liliana next turn. Plague Engineer on human is impending here. That will clean up Thalia and keep them from filing in Mother of Runes. They Fairy Macabre there, taking out my Life from the Loam, sure. It already drew 2 cards. All 3 for 1. I'll take it. They have Wasteland, and yep, just feed me that Thalia. Kinda hope they do have Mother of Runes in hand. Line them up, knock them down. And basic swamp for this one. Plague Engineer on human. Thalia's out. 2 for 1. Can't Violin Mother of Runes. Virtual card advantage. And if they play something that's not a human, Liliana, the Last Hope, is ready to chew on it. Apparition, you got it. Okay, that is gone now. They 2 for 1 to me back. Fair enough. I can commit a Ponder to the stack, and if they have the Spirit, I get to eat it with Liliana. So I think this is worth it. I would not have cast Brainstorm here, but I think Ponder is worth hanging out there. Abrupt Decay. Yep, I'll take it. And now I'm just going to pass on this. Having Dress Down and Abrupt Decay both available, big deal. They didn't Violin a 2-drop in my end step, so I'm just going to take out the Vial now before they can get it up to 3. Yeah, had nothing. Thought so. That makes Liliana and Brainstorm both a whole lot safer to make moves with. I'm drawing Baleful Strix for my turn. Thalia, that dies very cleanly to Liliana. They have Caracas, they could pick her up, but I just don't care. I am going to draw the Baleful Strix. That card is good at all points all the time. Fetch. I am unfortunately going to have to fetch into the Wasteland, but they missed their land drop, which makes that not so bad. I want to get Bayou here. Just planning for getting Wastelanded. Tick-tock. Okay, they acted a little quick on their Caracas there. They could have waited for me to target the Thalia, then picked her up. Now I get to plus on Skyclave Apparition instead and just save the 2 damage. If they Wasteland me, then they can't Thalia with protection anymore. Skyclave Apparition's probably just their best card here. Guild. Turn 5 Aether Vial. Love it. And Thalia's back, sure. That will tread water against Liliana, but that's fine. She's doing her job. She's keeping Thalia out of play and letting me cast spells. Ooh. Got one of these of my own now. Target Thalia, commit them to leave the Caracas up the rest of the game, basically. They picked it up, of course. And Baleful Strix. Ooh, awkward. I don't have that many blue sources, so I'm going to Brainstorm first. Okay, I don't actually need the Caracas or the Forest, I don't think. Get the other basic island here. Or I could get Underground Sea. Yeah, I don't think they can afford to Wasteland me, so I'm just gonna lean in here. Baleful Strix draws a card. I could Wasteland their Caracas, or I could leave up Dress Down for a turn. I think I just want to waste their Caracas. And I can also Abrupt Decay their Vial. So I could also Abrupt Decay their Apparition. No rush on that, I guess. You make that decision when I have more information. Vial's up to 1. Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, that's fine. Would have been a nice one to Dress Down, but it's okay. This board is reasonably under control. They went for Cauldra. They don't get to attack here. I mean, they can. It's just really bad. I'm going to decay the Stoneforge Mystic. Letting them have the Vial, not my favorite thing, but I think it's fine. Brainstorm while I still can. Uro, welcome to the party. Land drop. Uro, bonus land drop. I could have actually put Uro on top and minus Liliana, and ended up with Uro just directly into the graveyard, which is a pretty cool play. I'm not attacking just to make sure they don't have like Mother of Runes that's going to sneak in and mess me up. And by mess me up, of course, I mean attack Liliana for 1, which may or may not be considered messing anyone up based on your understanding of that term. Okay, perfect. Get another basic island here. Get the basic island. I can Dress Down. then they don't get a trigger off of this, which messes up their whole chain. Enjoy your 1/1. That's Liliana food. They can attack because they don't have Death Touch, but their thing is a 0/1, so they actually can't attack, even though they can attack. If you know what I mean. I'm going to escape Uro first, because if they're going to Spirit of the Labyrinth me, I want them to have to do it into Liliana. Just leaving a spread of spells and lands in my graveyard for Snapcaster Mage and Life from the Loam. There's one of each still in the deck. Ooh. I'm not going to put this land in. This pair of Brainstorms, I think, will end up doing a whole lot more work than that. I should have fetched before I did that, because I know they have Thalia in hand, and if they Violent Thalia right now, that would make my Liliana cost more. Liliana Tribal. Let's go. This board state would not have been legal a few years ago. Back when Liliana's followed the legend rule and not just the or the Planeswalker rule, which is slightly different than the legend rule, I guess. I am going to attack with my 1/1. Gotta win this game somehow. Here it comes. I know they have Thalia. I don't know if they have Spirit or Stoneforge. Stoneforge would actually be kind of rough here if they have another one. Please just put in Thalia. Shit. Okay. Looks like Kaldra's gonna get to do Kaldra stuff. It is facing down Uro though, so it's not that crazy yet. And it's still gonna be really good. So their hand is Thalia, Kaldra, Umezawa's Jitte, and 2 unknowns. And 1 unknown. They just played Wasteland. Here comes Kaldra. It's gonna have to attack Liliana because she's about to ultimate and go to Zombie Town, which I don't think they can beat. Combat damage to a creature. Exile the creature. Okay. So I can just let Liliana take a bunch of damage. They're far enough behind that this Kaldra isn't a banger. And it's still good, but it's not a banger. I can let Liliana just go to 2 and go to my turn here. Okay, cool. So I can Thoughtseize them and then plus other Liliana. Oh yeah, I don't want you to have that Sword of Fire and Ice, that's for sure. And then plus, or I guess I should Brainstorm first. They have Jitte and Thalia in hand. Yeah, I should Brainstorm here. Plague Engineer on human, that doesn't really matter. Assassin's Trophy doesn't matter. Or Trophy gets the Jitte, so that actually does matter. Can I go full Hellbent here? If I put back Brainstorm and Tropical Island, I can play, or Misty Rainforest Brainstorm. Brainstorm Misty Rainforest, yeah, probably that order. Brainstorm Misty Rainforest. Play my land for the turn. Assassin's Trophy Jitte or nothing. I think I may have beefed this up a little bit. I could name Core with this, which knocks Stoneforge Mystic into dead to Liliana range. Yeah, I'm going to name Core. Core. And then this Liliana can plus to kill this. Get an actual beat off of that. And then I can attack with all of these. Uro triggers, puts Misty Rainforest in my hand, which I will not put into play, because I'm going to discard it to Liliana. Then plus Liliana of the Veil, discarding Misty Rainforest, and they're going to discard Thalia, leaving Umezawa's Jitte in their hand. And I'll pass the turn. I'm saving this Assassin's Trophy. I could just hit the Vial, but I really don't want to get hit with an Umezawa's Jitte this turn. They can't use their Wastelands because that's their mana for Jitte. Just need them not to draw an exciting 3-drop with this to go with their Vial. Swords to Plowshares. Sure. I gain a bunch of life from that. Their hand is Jitte right now, which means they can Wasteland me if they want to. Alright. Just jammed it into play. That's cool too. Yorion is still in exile mode. That could matter at some point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can put them to 3 with an attack. I'm drawing Brainstorm for the turn. They have to go after Liliana of the Veil. Both Cauldra and the Germ are indestructible, so there's no reason to block with my Death Touch creature or cast Assassin's Trophy there. I'm gonna cast my Brainstorm first. Perfect. Put back Uro and Force of Will. And then I can minus Liliana to mill 2 cards. And I'm not going to return the Uro to my hand. I'm going to cast the Uro. Uro's been cast. Field of the Dead. Alright, yeah, now we're doing the thing. We're already doing the thing, but now we're really doing the thing. I'm going to save my Assassin's Trophy for when they commit mana to equipping Jitte. I don't think Vial on 4 matters. Vial on 5 gives them Yorion, but they're not there yet. I think they should have wasted my green source in the upkeep, because then I can't float green and have Abrupt Decay or Trophy. Recruiter of the Guard. Oh, this sucks. If I Trophy, then they get to equip Jitte. If I don't Trophy, they get to recruit. Yeah, I would Trophy Vial, by the way. Okay, this just got a lot worse. How bad is a Jitte hit for me? Maybe it's fine. Maybe I lose on the spot. I don't know. I'm gonna let this resolve. So they would have to attack with Cauldra. Yeah, I am actually gonna Trophy the Vial. I think them tutoring up a 3-drop and getting a chain online and like flickering Uro and whatever, I think all of that's gonna be a lot worse for me than getting hit with a Jitte here. Because to get hit with Jitte, they have to turn Cauldra sideways, which removes their best blocker from play. They have another trophy that can answer the Jitte next turn if necessary. They also might just decide that getting a 2-drop is more important, but I don't know. This doesn't look good for them. I can see worlds where I lose this game, but they're thin worlds. Like my opponent, okay, they have Solitude. They can't wish for Yorion just yet. If they equip Jitte, which I'm sure they will, they attack Liliana. They're effectively at 7 life. I Assassin's Trophy, the Recruiter, and then I attack for way more than 7. Okay, they're just sitting back on Cauldra. That makes a lot of sense. Cauldra has First Strike, which means that Jitte damage will happen before... Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. I can Assassin's Trophy the Jitte. I guess I can't get... Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, they're just dead. I get to Trophy Jitte and they die to all my other creatures. They block Uro. It gets exiled, but it doesn't matter. They don't have a card in their hand to go with the Solitude, which otherwise would be devastating. Solitude is no longer devastating. Trophy the Jitte, and we're done. We got the GGs in the chat, and they packed it up. That was a really great match. Back and forth the whole time. Next round. We're about halfway through the video, so let me just remind you that if you like this deck and you want to try it out, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com, and you can play any deck anytime with cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. These links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play in round number 3 with a perfectly reasonable hand. I'm going to keep it. This hand just has 3 things that cantrip, 3 lands, and a Force of Will. Is there a better spread of cards in all of Legacy than this? I'm not even mad that this hand doesn't have Ponder, because Baleful Strix, Uro, and Dress Down all also draw cards. And they're card advantage, not just selection, so Ponder can eat a D. I'm sorry, Ponder, I take it back. I love you. Playing against some Delver. Okay. I'm going to want to fetch Basic Island, probably. That was the thing that changes the equation a little bit. I can fetch Basic Island, or I could fetch Bayou. I can't fetch Bayou. I would have to fetch Underground Sea. So I could lean into Wasteland, or I could continue trying to dance around it. I just don't want my Strix to get dazed. I'm almost certainly decaying this turn. Oh, I'm going to play my Trop and pass here. See if they have the I guess I should fetch before they could have Stifle. Stifle's not really in Delver decks right now, but you never want to be unpleasantly surprised like that. Force of Will on top of the deck. Okay, Force in the hand. They didn't dash Ragavan, so I'm going to cast Abrupt Decay here. I'll absorb. I will save the damage. Like, I'm not doing anything else. It's fine. If they had something really terrifying, they could cast Second Main. Like, if this was Death and Taxes and they were attacking with, like, Thalia, I wouldn't just Abrupt Decay to save 2 life if they could Second Main Spirited Labyrinth, Second Main Stoneforge Mystic, etc. But the Delver deck, they're not going to play something scarier Second Main. They could play Ragavan, but I have Strix, I have other stuff for the Ragavan. Not a big deal. They found the Wasteland or had it. Hard to say. Either way, there it is. But either way, here's the Strix I lined up. At this point, I don't mind if it gets dazed. I would still prefer it just resolve, but if it got dazed, it would not be the end of the world. Because the pressure's off from the Delver. And Strix gets to get in the way of a dashed Ragavan. Dragon's Rage Channeler, sure. Got it. I can Ponder, or I can just go to Urotown here. I think I want to Ponder. Deck has a lot of removal in it. This is interesting. I can set up a stronger Uro and just get my colors and basic lands locked down, or I could shuffle this, and I think this is a shuffle. Rewarded. I can Loam now, or I can hold up Dress Down for the turn. I don't think I need to Dress Down for the turn. I have Force of Will for a Murktide Regent, which is the only thing I would want to Dress Down. Just make it come into play as a 3/3 instead of a 7/7. But their graveyard's not particularly stocked. There's only 1 spell in it at the moment. Baleful Strix is currently blocking Dragon Rage Channeler. A Lightning Bolt will change that, of course, but all of these things are fine with me. That's a 2-for-1 exchange. I guess if they Bolt and Dash Rag, that's kind of unfortunate, but still, not a huge deal. Ooh, this is Awake now. Do I Dredge Loam here? I don't think that I do. I'm looking for spells. I'm holding a lot of lands already. I think I have to Uro first. Like, I could end step, Dress Down, and just play Uro, but just having the front end of it's fine here. Here comes Uro. I'm not going to Dredge Loam. Still good on lands here. I think I want to Dress Down in my end step. If they have days, they have days, but I don't want them to get any extra value off the Dragon Rage Channeler. And I want to get attacked for 1, and I don't want Ragavan to have haste, and there's just a lot of reasons to do this right now. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Still don't want to Dredge the Loam. They get in for 1. That was just a cheeky, sneaky draw a card while saving 2 life, and maybe a little card selection. Haha, got him. Nice 3/3. Alright, Dress Down, got a little extra text on the way out. Still not dredging Loam. Do I want to dredge Loam? I guess my plan is to Uro, then yeah, I am going to dredge Loam. It's time. Then, do I cast Loam? Is the backup question. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I escape Uro first. Green, green, blue, blue. I tapped one of those for black somehow. Green, green, blue, blue. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna exile the backup Uro, Dress Down, Ponder, Abrupt Decay, and I guess the other Abrupt Decay, though there is a Snapcaster Mage in my deck. I will exile the Misty Rainforest. I'll just leave the Wasteland around. By doing it in this order, like, I can force back here. I'm gonna let Dragon Rage Channelers trigger resolve, and then I force their force. I am sticking with the Jace because that can bounce the Murktide region at some point. And then Uro, I did it in this order, so Uro's trigger will put this land into play, which means I can still cast Loam with my actual land drop available. Oh, all of my green sources might be in play right now. Whoops. That was a good plan until that happened. Okay, fine. Do I get the Triome? Yeah, whatever. Triome's in play. Go ahead, waste it. I have Loam in my hand. So that was a slight misstep there. I just lost track of my green sources. But It's fine. I would have liked to waste that volcanic island, but at the same time, it's fine. Wow, predict. Is that normal technology? Because that's really cool. Like, you always get to know what your top card is with Dragon Rage Channeler. See it. It's 2 mana draw 2. Build your own expressive iteration. I guess that's why predict technology isn't super common, because the deck already has expressive iteration. Is that just the 5th iteration, or is this like a whole different build of the deck? I don't know. Oh, okay. They've given up. They see the writing on the wall. Uro's coming in. Okay, against... Is it Delver? Assassin's Trophy. I like Liliana. I like Plague Engineer. I don't like the Bajuka Bog crop rotation stuff. Carpet of Flowers, that's what you're for. Kind of the whole point. Things that are less important. I mean, Dress Down was fun, but I don't think it's actually good. I don't think Raven's Crime is good. That's much better against control decks, where you're going to get into a grindy situation. I do like Thoughtseize. I like Fatal Push. I don't think I need all 3 Loams. I definitely don't need all 4 Forces. I'm going to go to 2 and probably end up at 1 when I'm done chopping. Jace against the Red Blast deck. Yeah, another Force against the Red Blast deck. And do I just go to 0 Forces? Probably. It's based on how this all looks. I think that is the right call. Now it's time for me to quickly look up if Dragon's Rage Channeler is a wizard. It is a human shaman. It is a human though, so Plague Engineer gets Delver and Dragon Rage Channeler on human. I like all the Uros, I like all the Planeswalkers, like all the 1-for-1 stuff. My answers to a resolved Murktide region include 3 Assassin's Trophy, 3 Baleful Strix, and maybe Liliana the Veil if I'm lucky. Yeah, that's fine. This will do. Oh, do I want Flusterstorms in? Is that better than Dress Down? It might be. Okay, I'm gonna have to win some counter wars. Almost missed those. Are any of these worse than... This maybe Thoughtseize isn't that great. Okay. On the draw, I'm gonna cut Thoughtseize. Maybe I'll bring it back in on the play. Like, taking Delver before it's in play versus trying to react to a Delver once it's in play with Thoughtseize is a very different calculation. I'm gonna keep this. Not excited about it being a 1-lander, but it can get basic Island, and I can cast Brainstorm and or Flusterstorm, and Baleful Strix is here, and there's a lot to like here. Maybe I'll just draw more lands. Alright, got there on that. Still gonna lead on this. I can at least cast Loam and pick my thing back up if nothing else happens. Take 1 from Channeler. You got me. Delver. Okay. I think I'm going for the Triome. You can call me crazy, but I like it. I can play Baleful Strix right now. I could Abrupt Decay Delver right now. I could play Loam right now, make sure that my next land drop is lined up. But drawing the 3rd land makes that less of an urgent priority. Maybe I'm supposed to play Strix here and curve up. Like, if they daze the Strix, that's 1 less daze for the Engineer. Yeah, that was probably bad. Okay, I'm gonna Abrupt Decay Dragon's Rage Channeler. I do think that one's the incidental advantage of Surveil 1, I think, with me at 18 life is scarier than the maybe taking 3 from Delver. And they missed a land drop last turn. I think if they had Wasteland, they would have at least run it out. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to Strix last turn. I messed that up. I can Loam this turn. I think that's the play. I'm gonna get basic Swamp, and then Loam and leave up Flusterstorm. And then next turn I can Plague Engineer, leave up Flusterstorm, or Strix, leave up Flusterstorm. Got options moving forward. Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. Yeah, let's fluster that. I did commit to this line that is kind of reliant on this Loam picking up these 2 lands. Getting out of Daze range. Alright, that was a nice little 2 for 3. 7 cards in my hand to 4 in theirs, but again, they're on board and I'm not. Got to stabilize against this Delver, and life is good. Pyroblast was their pickup. They can hit Baleful Strix with that. Also flips the Delver, which makes things a little bit worse for me. I think I just play the Engineer. Or do I Brainstorm? Yeah, I think I Brainstorm actually. Like, go ahead, Pyroblast it, then I play Strix, and that actually answers Delver. I should have played one of these other fetch lands though to fetch Basic Island. So maybe that also doesn't matter because I'm already mega exposed to Wasteland. So they Pyroblasted. I think Pyroblasting Strix makes a lot of sense, and it's what I would have done too, but it was bait this time. They Pyroblasted a card selection, but not card advantage thing, and I resolved a card advantage thing. That said, Lightning Bolt, I'm under the gun. I'm under the gun to so many things, like Pyroblast, under the gun. I do need to remove this Delver before I'm at 6 life, before I feel good about this game. They did not shuffle. Okay. Got a 2-for-1. Still taking damage, though. Time to draw one of my 8 to 12 spot removal spells, please, deck. Not dredging Loam. I'm gonna play Plague Engineer. I guess I could play around Daze. If I'm gonna play around Daze, I would rather the Sylvan Library resolve and the Plague Engineer get countered. I name Human with this. Delver is a human on the front and the back. Dragon's Rage Channeler is a human. So this will turn this into 2 power instead of 3. That does take at least a whole turn off the clock. Instead of being dead in 3, I'm dead in 5, so it's actually 2 turns off the clock. Keeps me out of double bolt range with this one hit. Murktide Regent, perfect. Dress down, rotting in my hand. Sylvan Library's got to save me here. Burrow's not a bad card. Okay, I'm gonna put back these two. Can I get Uro into play this turn? I can, but dress down will mean that it doesn't do what I need it to. I'm actually just dead to the 7 points. Is there... Yeah, I can cantrip, dress down, dredge Loam, put Uro in the graveyard, and then I guess I can... Alright, I think I know where the line is. Alright, put Loam on top. So what I have to do here is fetch, go to 6, ouch. Play Uro, gain my 3. I can get Uro into play. I do have the technology, but I think that Ponder and Dress Down are a better line. I can Ponder looking for a trophy. Liliana, the Last Hope. Are you actually good? If I dress down this turn, I can chump Murktide Regent and go to 6. And then bring Uro back. Yeah, these are not answers to the Murktide Regent. That answers Delver. I think I have to do the end step dress down thing just to play around Pyroblast as well as I can. I guess they can Pyroblast it and play, and it's all the same. And if they have Force to Will, I just lose. If they have Lightning Bolt, I also just lose. They bolt my creature, and I can't jump anymore. Okay, dress down is in. Still not dredging Loam. They're fetching. They can Pyroblast the dress down and play. Or a Lightning Bolt my Engineer, either of which wins the game. I could also go to 2. No, that's so dumb. I'm literally holding Abrupt Decay, which answers the Delver. I don't need to trade off with Delver. I need to chump right now. Okay, I'm at 6. Brainstorm. Probably should have done that pre-combat, because they had so many draws that just win the game. And they still have a lot of draws that win the game. Like a Red Blast, counting my Uro. Surgical, taking my Uro, also pretty good. Now I need to find Trophy or Strix. And I feel better with Trophy than Strix, obviously, but I have Answer to Delver in my hand. If I can find an answer with the library for the Murktide Regent, we might still have a game. Being at 5 life, obviously a big problem. Or 6 life against the Bolt deck. But we are halfway to stabilization. Alright, deck, let's go. Help me out here. Do not dredge Loam. Liliana, okay. I would like to use this ability. Don't dredge Loam. Don't dredge Loam. Okay. Baleful Strix. Liliana can pick up Baleful Strix. Do I have enough mana to do all this? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. I do actually have enough mana to do all that. So top, top, and then Liliana. There she is. Minus ability. Mill 2 cards. Pick up Baleful Strix. And then black, blue, lose to Pyroblast. Is that the game? Still don't dredge Loam. Okay, here we are. Dead to Lightning Bolt, dead to Pyroblast. But there is something resembling a stable game. If they have nothing, we're stable. Submerge? Okay, yeah, I'm dead. I've been submerged. The early decision I made to take out Dragon's Rage Channeler instead of Delver, that Delver did get in for a lot of damage, which might be regrettable, but also might be fine. I think maybe I bet in the right direction, or maybe I just chose wrong and should have given them the card selection to protect my life total. That's an interesting conversation for people to have. Do I actually want 3 Loams in the deck? I could bring in Thoughtseize, which is a terrible top deck, but is pretty good early on. Dress Down is fine, but it's kind of awkward that Death Touch is a big part of my game plan, and Dress Down obviously removes it. Okay, I'm gonna bring in the second Thoughtseize and cut the second Loam. This hand is fine. Not great, but it's fine. It's got a ton of basic lands. Life from the Loam. It can fetch basic. There's only one basic swamp. There are 2 basic forests, and I can just get all of the basics that I want here. I just need to be careful with the swamp because Uro is in this hand. I also need to be careful just firing off fetch lands. It's not necessarily the play. Ponder. Pretty happy to see that. Not gonna lie. Okay. Island, Ponder. Buy a shirt. I'm gonna get the Snow Island first. I'm sure they have identified that I have Field of the Dead and not Icebank Waddle. Like, that's what my Snowlands are for. But if I can put any thought in their head to the contrary, I'm gonna take it. Delver, flipping Surgical Extraction. Cool. So this Uro in my hand just got a lot worse. Maybe I can trick them into surgicaling things in response to Loam. But the Uro still hits an extra land drop, which gets ahead of days. Like, there's a lot to like there. There's a lot less to like with that Wasteland. So I have to fetch because the top of my deck is bad, but I was planning on getting the Triome there, which I can no longer do. I can get basic Island though. Draw for turn. Could just jam Uro into the Surgical Extraction that I know about. I could also cast Ponder, looking for answers. I think Ponder looking for answers to Delver makes some sense. Ooh, do I want Sylvan Library here? Do I want the cards after it if Sylvan Library doesn't resolve is the real trick. I'm not going to shuffle. I'm going to see what they can do against the Sylvan Library. If they want to Daze or Force this, that gets a Daze or Force out of the hand. Oh, nice. Force of Negation, pitching Submerge. That's big money. Got a 2-for-1 out of that. I'll take it. Their hand is Surgical and Mystery card. I don't love this Wasteland that I'm facing down right now. They don't have red mana. I could Uro and represent Flusterstorm, but I'm a little worried about the Wasteland. But if they Surgical Uro, then I don't have to be worried about Wasteland, really. I could also just Brainstorm, look for an answer to Delver. I'm going to do that. Okay, put back Triome and what? And Forest. Or wait, I put back Forest and Triome. I think that's the play. I play Carpet. We go to my second main, I trigger Carpet. Yes, use the ability make black. I think I want to make black and cast my Plague Engineer. This turn got a little weird. I'm not going to act like it didn't. It's definitely a little strange here. I'm going to name Human on that. Hope their hand is just full of red cards and they don't find a red source. That cuts a third of the clock off. Assassin's Trophy, hell yeah. That's a little dangerous because it gives them red mana, which I don't really want to do right now. I should have loamed first. That was bad. Hopefully I hit a land. Alright. Never punished. 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'm gonna try to overload that surgical extraction right now with Flusterstorm backup. Cool. I'm not gonna attack with Plague Engineer because they could still dash Ragavan. I'm pretty interested in going for this Uro next turn with Flusterstorm backup. I hope if they just do it now, that's kind of shitty. I think I still make the play though. Yeah, it's still fine. I'm gonna get Tropical Island, I guess. Now I'll get Underground Sea. It's fine. Oh wait, they could pay for this? I've made mistakes. Mistakes were made. 1, 2, 1, 2. They can't Wasteland me if I fluster, but I don't think that matters. Okay. Yep, mistakes were made. Shouldn't have fetched there. That was a life point I didn't need to lose. Now they know about Flusterstorm. They were going to see it anyway with the rest of this stuff, but yeah, not great. I do not want to dredge Loam. Field of the Dead is the only land I can hit that's actually useful at all. Yes. Make black mana. And I guess play this land and pass the turn. I guess I should trophy on their turn. That turns off Force of Negation at least. If I trophy in combat, then they don't get to dash Ragavan on me with all their freshly gained red mana. Yeah, that just went straight in the graveyard. They're going to get a basic mountain. Or I guess they could even get a basic island and go Murktide, but it seems they've gone with the basic mountain version. Straight in the graveyard. Nope, they are delirious. Too bad. Alright, deck. Probably should have fetched for a Zagoth Triome at the end step. No, I think I want to draw that card. Alright. Still not dredging Loam. Thoughtseize. That's not where I want to be right now. Alright, I will make black. It will probably do more damage or save more life than it will deal me damage by Thoughtseizing here. Just like petering out here sucks pretty hard. I mean, I guess this is an Uro-centric deck, and I hung my Uro out in front of the surgical extraction that I knew about. Like, if we just had Uro going right now, this game would be easily won. But we don't, because I just gave it to them. Yeah, this is my fault. 100%. Okay, so how do I navigate this? I'm almost certainly taking Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, yeah, taking Murktide Regent, and then I'm gonna have to navigate the rest of this stuff somehow. I don't think that I can, honestly. Like, the Loam just doesn't do anything that I need it to here. This isn't a deck that has Glacial Chasm or Maze of Ith in it. It's just not what's going on. Yeah, I need an Abrupt Decay right now, and Loaming isn't gonna help. Okay. Well, Zagoth Triome. Use Carpet's ability, yes. Probably a little too late on this Zagoth Triome, but I am still... Of all the lands I could have drawn, this is not the most embarrassing one. Okay, now I'm dead. They just attack me for 2 and Lightning Bolt me, and they can play around Flusterstorm. Okay, yeah, I played into that surgical extraction that I could have avoided, and that cost me the whole game. I think if I was just more patient on Uro, set up a turn where Flusterstorm actually is functional to protect it, that was that was definitely the line to win that game, and I gave it up. So I deserve to lose that. On to the next round. On the play in round number 4, I've kept this hand, Island Ponder. You know how it is. And I'm going to cast my Ponder. Ooh, I can put Force of Will on top, so I have Force of Will if I need it. And then Thoughtseize can figure out what I actually need next turn. It's pretty good. I like it. I can Thoughtseize, Snap Thoughtseize over the next 2 turns if this is a matchup where that's a thing. City of Traders, huh? Probably going to have to counter a... Oh. not going to counter that. That's not Chalice of the Void. I'm good. All these keys. They're all dressed up. Nowhere to go currently. It's a really good time to have a Thoughtseize in my hand because knowing where I need to point this Force of Will is going to be a huge deal. Mox, Opal, and... oh wow. Everflowing Chalice. That's their hand right now. I will take the Mox Opal. That's not what I expected their hand to be. They could play a Chalice for 2 right now, which untapping with the keys is a lot of mana. Kicked 1 times. Okay. You can have that. Surge Node. Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna counter the payoffs, not the build up here. This is a deck that I have a weird amount of experience against because there's a local player who likes this deck. Believe it or not, there's somebody on the earth who chooses to play this deck because out of all the decks they could play, they're just like, yeah, Surge Node. But this is a artifact combo deck that moves counters around, makes a bunch of mana. If I can get ahead with like 2 counter spells against them, I'll feel pretty good. If I can't, I'll feel pretty bad. If they do break through your counterspell wall, you're just out of luck. You will die very quickly. The good news is they don't have a whole lot of payoffs in their deck. The bad news is they are surging up their Everflowing Chalice. This thing's going to be worth zillions of mana very soon. Some really good news, though, is that Dress Down bricks Walking Ballista. If you respond to Walking Ballista on the stack with Dress Down, it will lose the ability that it enters the battlefield with +1 counters equal to X. So it'll just be a 0/0 that goes straight to the graveyard for any amount of mana. Just charging up their node some more, or using their node to charge up their Chalice. Just gotta hope they don't have like Emrakul or Ulamog. Those things are concerns of mine. Not Seer is, I mean, that's gonna take the Force of Will. And might as well. Or I could let them have it and maybe draw a card in the future. No, I'm actually going to let them have this. I think having the Thought Knot in play, where I can interact with it and maybe draw a card off it by removing it, is better than 2-for-1ing myself. Like I could 0-for-1 myself, or I guess it's a 1-for-1. I don't even know how this works. Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 when it comes into play. Then answering it undoes. Yeah, it's just a 1-for-1 rather than a 2-for-1. Math is hard. Cards are crazy. They can Inventor's Fair this turn and get something explosive. Yeah, that Thought Knot was a really good draw. Draw another counterspell. That's not another counterspell. Here's the other Uro. Jace, not quite what I wanted. I could easily lose this turn. Them drawing the second thing, like we knew they had Inventor's Fair, which was one thing, but drawing the second thing in Thought Knot Seer is a huge problem. Now they get Mystic Forge and just shred through their whole deck. Let's see if that works out for them. F6, let's go. Surging up. Oh great, they drew Karn. Okay, yeah, so if your Surge Node opponent just draws exclusively payoffs after you let them have their setup, and they play more setup than they play payoffs, and if this ends up happening where they just, in 3 draw steps, find Thought Knot Seer or Mystic Forge Karn, then you're going to lose these games. Is what it is. Okay, another Thought Knot Seer on top of the deck. Yeah, we're not winning this one. I guess I still get to put Uro into play, which is a pretty messed up card. Depends on how deep into their deck they go right now. Okay, so they can have Ancient Tomb in their hand, I guess. Plussing Karn is really interesting versus just making a giant creature and putting me to dead on board. But I guess if the plan is to cast your whole deck, it makes sense to clear the thing that doesn't do that. They're just throwing cards from the top of their deck into play at this point. There's an Astral Cornucopia. That's the good card in the deck. That's the one that you really want to be Surge Noding onto. But if the deck is mono-colorless, Everflowing Chalice is the same thing. Maybe I was supposed to take Chalice off that Thoughtseize. They drew the Surge Node afterward, so I couldn't have known that. I thought that color scoring them might have been better. But in retrospect, I think if I take Everflowing Chalice off Thoughtseize, this game just doesn't happen. So, totally on me. Plague Engineer on Eldrazi. Blue, blue, green, green. Okay, so I can Raven's Crime, which gets enough cards for Uro. Crime you. Whatever that one card is. Put it in the graveyard. I think it's Ancient Tomb, isn't it? Or did they play that? Oh, it's Inventor's Fair. Oh, they used their Expedition map straight into my Raven's Crime. That wasn't good. Green, green, blue, blue. Alright, I'll take that. That was a lucky break. I don't think it's going to matter, but I'll still take it. Yeah, there's like a brief chance that they would whiff on Mystic Forge, but having Karn to go with it, just so much card selection. They can have Cornucopia, I guess. That one doesn't make mana on its own, and Grim Monolith does. There's still some universe where they just whiff, but it's unlikely. They have a zillion mana. They can untap Mystic Forge twice, which means they can exile 3 cards off the top of their deck to keep their party going. If they find the Paradox Engine, I just lose. I think they usually play like one of those to... At least the modern build does. I'm not really sure what the legacy one is up to. Oh, there's Karn. That's what the legacy one is up to. I believe that I cannot beat Karn. They get Mycos and Flatus, the game is already over. So they could maybe do something even better. Yeah, they have enough creatures in play that Lattice is GG. Okay. That was an absolute dumpstering. And I don't have a Collector Oof in the sideboard, so a little concerned about that. Assassin's Trophy is coming in. Does anything else come in? I guess Force of Negation kind of has to. Liliana of the Veil can pressure their hand. Dress Down does mop up construct tokens and stops Walking Ballista. Fatal Push doesn't do much. Alright, Fatal Push is out. Baleful Strix is like medium bad. Loam Wasteland is one of the things I can do against this deck. Yeah, I really don't have a good sideboard plan. Normally something like Null Rod or Collector Oof, you just slam in your deck and high five all your friends and you're good, but I don't have any of that. Removal is going to be pretty important. Plague Engineer is not important. Or permanent removal, not creature removal. If they have creatures, I'm probably already losing. But the trophies and decays, if I can pick off an Everflowing Chalice or a Cornucopia after they put some resources into ramping it up, that's good. I like the Raven's Crime and Thoughtseize. Just anything to reduce their resources they can work with is good. And that's the same reason I like Liliana of the Veil. I'm not sure about Sylvan Library. So I probably do just need it. But if I'm cutting... Yeah, I don't think I can cut a blue card and Sylvan Library. Okay. There's still one in there. It'll have to do. Let's go. This hand... I would be in love with this if this was Underground Sea. But it's Bayou, which makes it a lot worse. But this hand is still pretty close. I'm going to keep it. Might be foolish, but it's a blue source away from being phenomenal, and I play a lot of those. And it has the Thoughtseize on turn 1. It also goes a long way. Core Tapper, Thought-Knot Seer, Inventor's Fair. I could take the Chalice and just bet on myself here. I could take the Core Tapper. So I think taking Thought-Knot Seer. I put a charge counter on target artifact, stack this. I think it's somehow Core Tapper. But Core Tapper doesn't do anything if I take Chalice. And if I take one of these artifacts that takes them farther away from Inventor's Fair, which is one of their better cards, I might just have to... I think I'm going to take the Chalice or the Tapper. I'm taking Core Tapper. Committed. Lock it in. I will have to force a Will Thought-Knot Seer unless I draw the land for Dress Down before that becomes a thing. There's Saga. Okay, they are not in the market for a... Shit. Punished! They're not in the market for a game where they're casting Thought-Knot Seer on turn 2. They want to start Sagaing. Which is why I need to draw a blue land for my thing. Oh no, I deserve this, kinda. They get a construct here. They get another construct. And they get to tutor. I'm going to have to force probably pitching Jace on the Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, they can't cast it this turn. That's a later thing. But they can get Surge Node out of this, or... yeah, there's Surge Node. Oh, another Saga. Cool. Yeah, I mean, this dress down is just a hero if it gets a chance to get put on the stack. Oh, come on, deck. Blue mana for the win. Ugh. Well, life is pain, folks. That's what they say. I guess I'm going to waste the Saga. And I take 10, go to 3, Force of Will, Thought-Knot Seer, go to 2, Fetch Land off the top puts me to 1, and then I cast Dress Down and I'm completely stable and can't fetch anymore. Now I'm just dead. Yeah, I Force of Will the Thought-Knot Seer. I go to 1. Damn. I mean, you can look at my mulligan and be like, come on, idiot. Keep a hand that actually taps for mana. This is your fault. You did this yourself. And that's true. But at the same time, I feel like going 4 draw steps without a land is kind of on the outside edge of reasonable. But I guess I did draw a land. It was Wasteland. 23 lands in the deck. So after an opening hand, there's 52 cards. 23 times 2 is 46. So it's like worse than a coin flip. And 4 draws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 13, 14, 15 of those draws are blue sources. So yeah, maybe that was a lot worse than it had any right to be. Maybe I'm supposed to mulligan that. I just got suckered in by that hand being so perfect on spells, like having the Dress Down, the Force, the Thoughtseize. I think I got booty blind by the quality of spells and just gave myself a giant out to lose the game in keeping the 1-lander that was Bayou. Okay, I'll accept that one on me. Next round. I'm on the draw in the final round, and I'm going to keep this hand that does a bunch of stuff. This is our first Loam Wasteland starter. Oh, we're playing against Arkin. That's fun. I hope that he is streaming and not just on a trophy quest right now. Because if he's trophy questing, we might get just die to Reanimator or some garbage, but okay. I'm going to take my cheesy Wasteland since it was offered to me. If he has Stifle, he has Stifle. If he had done basically anything with that mana, I probably wouldn't have wasted. I guess maybe Ponder I still waste, but if he plays Delver or Ragavan or whatever, I need to develop my board more than I need to cast Wasteland, and that's not even close. Just going to play an Island and pass. Another Wasteland. Or another Brainstorm. So this Brainstorm is working through the cards that the first Brainstorm put there. That Wasteland was actually really bad. He is Brainstorm locked right now. And all he can do is draw through them, it seems. Nice. Okay. I'm going to wait on my Loam. I'm probably just going to Brainstorm this turn. That's a lot of lands. And I have Loam in my hand, so I don't actually need any of these lands. I'll put those 2 back. This is probably more Force of Wills than I need against whatever he's doing, like this Bauble deck. This is definitely a Dragon Rage Channeler pile of some variety. Could force that, but I'm not gonna. That Wasteland was crushing. None of these Brainstorms have been good. These are all just painful trying to hit my land drop Brainstorms. These are not solidify my hand, pull ahead Brainstorms. This is really awful for him. And I'm okay with that because I'm the bad guy. I could force this creature. I could also dress it down at multiple points moving forward. I think I want to just fetch the basic basic forest here. Do I spend a turn casting Loam? I could Loam into a Daze and get Loam countered. Or I could, but if it resolves, I get to Wasteland. If Loam doesn't get countered, I could play around Daze, but then I don't get to waste also. I could also just do an end step Dress Down and draw a card and see what happens. I think I like that for this turn. It's going to Dress Down right now in the end step. I get the extra draw. He doesn't get the selection going into his turn. to attack for 1. Murktide Regent is a 3/3. All of these things are mostly fine to me. I would Force of Will a Murktide Regent. I haven't forced a card yet. I don't think that's what I'm targeting with Force. I need to pick something really game-breaking, like Uro, like my Uro, or his Murktide Regent. Okay, cool. Managed to play around getting an extra card off the iteration. I can fetch now. I don't know the top of my deck, so fetching now doesn't matter. Jeez, these cards. Okay. Might have to do the dress down thing again, just to keep moving forward in this game. I would like to answer this Channeler, and I have a bunch of Abrupt Decays, Fatal Push, like all these cards are in my deck. But I will draw all the lands that I didn't draw last round. It's okay. The universe is balancing out. Nature is healing. Another expressive iteration. Alright, he's officially dug all the way out of that early Wasteland, and I've done nothing to apply pressure in the meantime. I suspect this is the Delverless Delver deck. Oh no, I've wasted my dress downs. I did not expect Urza Saga to show up here. Maybe I should have. Yeah, definitely I have not used my dress downs the best that I could have for the matchup. I'm gonna hang out the Triome. It's just such a juicy Wasteland target, and I'm happy to pick it up with my Loam if he wastes it, and I'm happy to untap and use it for mana if he doesn't. Also, if he wastes my Triome and I Loam picking up Wasteland waste, then I'll need another land drop to start making constructs with, though at this point so many cards have been drawn. Seems likely that'll happen. I probably would not have used those dress downs in that fashion if I knew this was a Saga deck. Okay, there is that. I think I'm gonna Brainstorm. I should have tapped Zagoth Triome to cast this, because if they Force of Will, then I just didn't get to use that mana. Okay. So Brainstorm. Wow. Okay. Put those ones back. Fetch. Tropical Island in play. How about an Abrupt Decay? Nope, no chance. I can Brainstorm again, try to find Fatal Push. That is a card I play. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. There's a trophy. Do I need 3 Force of Wills? Probably not. I can get Underground Sea and cast Ponder. Daze, sure. Daze was eventually going to get something. Hitting Ponder is not the worst option. Saga goes to 2. So now we're in the position where if he wants to make construct tokens, he doesn't get to do other things. Take 3 in combat. Now it's time to Loam, finally. So Life from the Loam, targeting Zagoth Triome, Wasteland, and I guess a fetch land. Force Negation would be pretty rough. I will Force back. This is the turn where I get stuff going or I don't. Okay, Wasteland. Waste the Urza Saga right now. Okay, so that is gone. And I'm pretty sure I have to Assassin's Trophy straight into Daze here. I could also... No, maybe I Library. Let him Daze that if he has Daze. I take 3 to 8. And if that doesn't happen... Okay. Alright, this game is getting weird. A little surprised my Library resolved. That makes Construct a 2/2. Back to a 1/1. We'll definitely trade Snapcaster Mage for this Construct. I don't want to take any additional damage. I don't have to, and that thing will eventually be bigger. I'm going to force this Murktide Regent. Or Standstill, or whatever it is. This is as good as a Force of Will is going to get. If he's got a counterspell for this, then that's 1 less for the trophy. Hopefully, if he does counter it, he has to use Force and not Daze. It did have a Force after all. Force pitching the backup Murktide Regent. Okay. I think Fatal Push or Abrupt Decay are my best finds at this point. Pretty good chunk of my deck between those 2 cards. Maybe I can find one. Alright, none of these are good. Not even close to playable, in fact. Okay, put this on top, put this on top. if I Assassin's Trophy this thing, I definitely can't cast Thoughtseize at this point. So I could play Jace, bounce Murktide Regent, hope I'm not dead. Jace, neither of them play around. They both play around Daze. Neither of them play around Force. Thoughtseize Trophy plays around Force, but that puts me to 5. The attack puts me to 2. Fetch puts me to 1, and then I'm just dead to everything. Dead to Lightning Bolt. I think I just have to trophy this thing right now. This Dragon Rage Channeler. This whole game without this card in play, I'm miles ahead, but this whole game with this card in play, I'm miles behind. And there's basically no middle ground. Yeah, another Force. Okay. Alright. This one was not mine to win. Punished him really early with that Wasteland, and I just couldn't push my advantage at all. So that's lame. Or unfortunate. Assassin's Trophy is coming in. I probably like Flusterstorm. Don't really like Force of Will. Jace, they're gonna have Pyroblast after board for sure. I don't think this is a Raven's Crime matchup. I don't love Thoughtseize in the matchup either. We can play to the board for a lot of this stuff. I do like Plague Engineer. I think I like Liliana too. So I'd have to cut Thoughtseize, another Force of Will. I just go to 0 Force. Forget it, that's not the plan. Carpet of Flowers should be in as well. Oh, there's a lot of stuff I want to be doing here. Is Liliana of the Veil good? Probably. Baleful Strix is good. Sylvan Library. I'm a lot more willing to cut that card than a lot of people, and I think I'm okay with that. And I guess Jace, I can't really rely on against the Daze Pyroblast, Wasteland, Force of Will deck. Lightning Bolt. Yeah, Jace can come out. This is my new plan. What I gotta do here is make sure my Uros don't get exiled. Really don't want to get Surgical Extraction. That's the plan. Field of the Dead is one of the few cards that can actually keep up with Urza Saga, especially with Dress Down there to break the standoff. This hand has 3 lands, a bunch of answers to stuff. I'm going to keep it. Now that I know about the sagas, I'll be a little more judicious with my Dress Downs. I am probably not going to play around Wasteland. I guess we'll see what it gives me to work with here. Ragavan. Okay. This deck does have Stifle in it too, so maybe I should get Basic Swamp here. Or maybe it's just Underground Sea, because it gets to waste me either way. No, Basic Swamp at least casts the trophy in my hand. Yeah, alright. I'm in for that. And I'm going to wait till combat so you can't dash a second Ragavan after I kill this one. Decay it. Soulguide Lantern. You got it. Gets rid of my Abrupt Decay. Sure. Snapcaster Mage. Not great, but here's Plague Engineer. I'm gonna name Human. That's in play. Proactively addressing Dragon Rage Channeler. Could just bolt it or plow it. All of these things work. They have like end step plow into dash Ragavan. Whatever. Hopefully they just draw a card with Soulguide Lantern here. They do have the plow in the end step. You got me. That was just a 1-for-1 trade. It's okay. Expressive Iteration is not a 1-for-1. And actually getting wasted off blue here would be a complete nightmare, so maybe I should have fetched Underground Sea with that first fetch land. Okay, Arid Mesa is notably not Wasteland. They are different cards. There's the Channeler. Oh, Zagoth Triumph. Because I have to play this. And I'm not super excited about trophying this thing. I guess I have to do the end step Dress Down again. Doesn't feel good, but it does check Ragavan and keeps me from taking 3 damage here. And the floor on Dress Down is pretty high. Like, this is about as bad as Dress Down could be in this matchup, and it's still cycling, drawing a card, and doing other things. Okay. Poor Plague Engineer, you had your chance. This matchup definitely makes me wish I had Endurance in the deck. Oh, that's interesting. That can actually kill Dragon Rage channelers if they are dressed down. Hmm. Maybe I end step dress down on their turn and untap and start blasting. Interesting. Yeah, I just don't want to get dazed in this position. So they draw for turn. I'm going to give them the draw step because if they draw a basic land, then Assassin's Trophy gets a lot better. Milling a red blast, milling a land. Do I take 6 from this? I think so. No, I'm going to trophy one of them. Yeah, my plan of trophy one of these and then untap and Liliana the other one. Okay, no basic. Cool, just straight up Vindicate. I'll take that. Oh no, they're going to mess me up. Oh no, it's fine. They're going for a Murktide, which I can dress down. And hope the last card in hand isn't Reb. If they lose Delirium when they do this, this game actually has a chance. The Snapcaster Mage is looking really bad against this turn 1 Soul Guide Lantern, though. Okay, here's Murktide Regent. Left Delirium. So this is what? A 4/4? I think giving him the 4/4 is better than just making it a 3/3, because then I get to dress down in the end step and still try to make this Liliana play. Is the last card Red Blast? If the last card is Red Blast, do they recognize what I'm up to here? Okay. If the last card is Red Blast, they can Red Blast the dress down in response to Liliana being activated, which does save the thing. Okay. So they spend a turn attacking Liliana. I have this Snapcaster Mage, which doesn't do anything because of Soul Guide Lantern. Maybe they'll just draw a card with Soul Guide Lantern. Yes! We're in business. Unfortunately, my deck is still going to struggle with Retrofitter Foundry, just as a card. And Dragon Rage Channeler right back in business. Brainstorm Finding Action right back in business. This Jeskai deck is so good against anyone who's trying to play fair. It's kind of unreal. I have a paper event this weekend, and I've been playing Bant exclusively, but I might switch to this Jeskai deck for the weekend. Just so solid. Ragavan. 1 card left in hand, and they didn't leave up red. All of that is good news to me. I think I have to brainstorm first. Let's try to turn this island into something playable. Okay, what does this look like? I Snapcaster, Assassin's Trophy, and then also Fatal Push. Okay. And leave Uro on top of the deck. So Snapcaster Mage has to resolve. Like, that's the one that I need to play around days with. So blue, green, Assassin's Trophy. They didn't have a basic last time. Hope they don't now either. Fatal Push. Please don't have Daze. Can I take 3 to play around Daze? I don't think so. Fatal Push this right now. Swords to Plowshares, last card in hand. Okay. The Ragavan's going to connect. I did sort of roll the dice on that Dragon Rage Channeler is a better creature than Ragavan on average. And they're going to get a land for their trouble here with this Ragavan, which doesn't really matter. They do have Karakas in play right now, which is a huge problem for this Uro. Oh, and they just top deck Narset too. Cool. Alright. This game was close for a second. Now it's not. I don't even get to draw a card with my Uro for my trouble. Just gain 3 life, whatever. I know my top card is a land also. I put 2 lands back with the Brainstorm last turn. And I guess I can play and redeploy Uro. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, just to gain 6 life and make them tap their Karakas. Uro. Tried so hard, got so far. Oh, that needs to be blue. 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 Green, green. Here's Uro. I go to 23. At least wasting some time here. It's possible I should have left it in the graveyard and hope to draw Abrupt Decay for Narset and then do Uro stuff. I don't actually know. That's probably the better play. Also getting mega punished by choosing to remove Dragon Rage Channeler on the turn that they'd plow instead of Ragavan. It's a Misty Rainforest. Alright, so there's a chance to draw Abrupt Decay still. Casting that Ponder, found a Brainstorm off of Narset. Abrupt Decay. That's not helpful or important or interesting. I am just going to pass the turn. Not going to put that into play. Not going to give him any information. Remember that time he drew Narset after I did all that work to maneuver the game into an Uro position? Oh well. And now Thopter Foundry is doing its thing, or Retrofitter Foundry, whatever that version of Thopter Foundry is. So I made some, I'm going to start doing my wrap up now because we're not winning this game. I made some strategic errors in the two matchups we lost. I should have mulliganed the hand against the Surge Node deck, and I just failed to play around this face-up Surgical Extraction in the other matchup. So both of those were problems. And now I feel like I maneuvered this game as well as I could, and it just didn't get there. There's Field of the Dead, which is actually one of the cards that still has text, even though it's not great. And I am just dead very quickly. Like, the Ragavan Treasures have been quietly stacking up over there, making the constructs huge. Yeah, I'm just going to concede. I've seen the next few turns, and I'm not winning. Needed that draw step to not be Narset. Even like Pyroblast, I get to draw one card and gain 3 life, and Uro still has text, but Healing Salve is not what I'm looking for in the matchup. Okay, so like I was just saying, I made some strategic errors in... I just kept a bad mulligan. Should have never be afraid of going to 6 is one of my mottos, and I just chose not to live by it. Chose to grab life by the horns and go crazy, and lost as a result in one of the matchups. And the other one, I just failed to play around a face-up Surgical Extraction. I just thought my Flusterstorm was good enough to get it, but it wasn't. My opponent played well. They played better than me, basically, and I was like, haha, they're going to jam their Surgical and I get to Fluster it. But they just went to their turn, waited for the Storm count to be clear, and Surgical'd when they could play around Flusterstorm, and then no Uro, game over. But I win that game if I protect my Uro better. And that last one was not even close to close. I am not sure that matchup is remotely winnable. Like, we would have to get a very early Loam Wasteland, control everything. That matchup just felt really terrible. Which makes sense because we're a fair deck, and that is a terrible matchup for all fair decks. Anyway, that is my experience with Bug Loam. We had some cool games. We had some cool interactions. Dress Down continues to impress in fair blue decks. It just always found something to do. Baleful Strix, not the hero it once was. We could play this card with Flash in a different color combination. We could actually even play this card with Flash in this combination. Like, if we just decide we're not a Field of the Dead deck, if we go a little more mid-range and less super late game grindy, then Icefang Coatl can get played. We could just, because we don't have to play the non-snow basics anymore, we just get 5 snow basics. Coatl gets to ride even turn Field of the Dead into a 6 snow basic maybe, or another Underground Sea. Running out of dual lands to fetch did come up a few times. This being a Loam deck, having 9, 10 fetch lands with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fetchables. That you're not, or 10 fetchables with Zagoth Triumph. So 10 fetch lands with 10 fetchables in a Loam deck that's trying to go long. I think that those numbers are a little strange. I haven't looked at other Loam decks for comparison, but that does feel weird. I also wished throughout the league that the Loam package did more. Like, 3 Life from the Loam is a lot for a card that just rebuys Wasteland or sometimes triggers Field of the Dead. Like, I think you could get away with like 2 or maybe even 1 if this is all you're doing with it. I would want some other stuff. Like, give me a second Cycle land, give me a Maze of Ith. Just flesh out this Loam package a little more, because there were so many games where it's just like, I'm not going to dredge Loam. I am not going to dredge Loam. Nope, still not dredging Loam. Because the value just isn't there, short of hitting a land drop or randomly locking people out with Wasteland. those are my thoughts about this deck. Hunter, thank you for sharing it with me. I hope the thoughts were helpful. Everyone, I hope watching you see the difference between Bant and Bug and the things that Swords to Plowshares offers to a deck. It's Murktide Regent's world. We're all just living in it, and Abrupt Decay does not get the job done there. So thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe the video and the channel. Patreon is there if you want to support the channel some more. Hit the join button for YouTube membership to get some sweet emotes and extra content. And remember to click my affiliate link if you're shopping for cards on TCG Player. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.